After her resignation from WWE this week, it has been reported that Stephanie McMahon had issues working with her father, Vince McMahon, of course, who is now returned to WWE, is on the board of directors, and is once again the executive chairman of the company. Speaking of Vince McMahon, he, of course, cut that deal with Fox for SmackDown, and it has been reported that Fox has seen major losses in the range of hundreds of millions of dollars whilst producing Friday Night SmackDown since 2019. We've got the latest details when it comes to the losses for the Blue brand, plus the pitch black match at the Royal Rumble. What are the rules? We might even have an update on that. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE. And let's start off talking about the fallout, the division, the divide in the McMahon family, not just with Vince McMahon and his still wife, Linda McMahon, although they are legally separated, or they are separated. Let's not even get into that. Let's talk about Stephanie McMahon and her father, Vince McMahon. Stephanie McMahon, of course, wants the chairwoman, wants the co-CEO of WWE now. She's got nothing to do with the company. She has officially resigned. She still does have stock, though, within the company, and it is being reported that she had issues working with her father in World Wrestling Entertainment, with Stephanie McMahon resigning from WWE following Vince McMahon's return as executive chairman. Details of her reasoning may have now been revealed. It had previously been reported that both Triple H and Stephanie McMahon had opposed the sale of WWE, the purpose of Vince's return to the company. The conflict between former co-CEO Stephanie McMahon and her father and chairman of the board of directors, Vince McMahon, was elaborated upon in a recent report from Dave Meltzer. In the current issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer stated, quote, "It was also conceded that she and Vince did have issues in working together as family members, and how Nick Khan was a buffer who kept things smooth between them, as well as between Vince and Levesque, Triple H." Basically saying it's actually Nick Khan who's the person holding this all together. Stephanie has issues with Vince. Paul Levesque, Stephanie's husband, has issues with Vince. Now, that would lead one to suggesting or speculating, it's not even too much of a jump to say, that with this guy coming back, Stephanie leaving, what does that mean about the future of Triple H with the company? He's currently the chief content officer. For how long? We don't know. Vince McMahon did say he wasn't going to mess or change or alter the management structure in WWE upon his return. However, already we have seen the structure of the board of directors significantly change. Already we have seen the chairwoman leave, the co-CEO leave, and a sole chief executive officer be appointed. So the management team is already in flux and already changing. Now, in the current, he would also address, another aspect of Stephanie McMahon's resignation, though wouldn't comment on the claim further, saying, quote, "Some have tried to tie in Stephanie's resignation to the fact that women are considered second class in Saudi Arabia." That, to me, is a speculation on Dave Meltzer's part, suggesting that it might have something to do with the possibility of WWE selling to Saudi Arabia. And this is the problem with Meltzer, is that he, in his own reporting today, we spoke about it here on the channel, has said that while Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Public Investment Fund, to be specific, are one of the names in the running to purchase WWE, they're not in pole position. They're not the front runners. There is smoke to that fire in terms of an interest from Saudi's PIF in purchasing WWE, but at the same time, the review of strategic alternatives has only just begun when it comes to WWE, and these things do take a bit of time. These things aren't going to happen that quickly. We have seen what happens on Twitter this week when you speculate and when you run away with things without addressing the facts. As of right now, the sharks are circling the prey. Essentially, the prey is WWE, and all of these big hitters, whether it is Comcast, whether it's Disney, whether it's the Khan family, whether it's whoever, whether it is the Saudi Public Investment Fund, they're all circulating. They're all making phone calls, having conversations, having discussions, trying to get partners together, speaking to other financial backers to form consortiums and saying, hey, would you be interested in putting and pooling this money together and purchasing World Wrestling Entertainment for a certain price? Now, obviously, as well, as I mentioned, there are other aspects to this, i.e. Vince McMahon. The sale may be a means to an end for him, with the ultimate goal of regaining complete control over WWE, at least on a day-to-day basis. Whilst he may no longer own the company, if he does sell it, he would want, certainly, full power to still be the chairman. He once again be the chief executive officer as he was before, and also, most importantly, be the head of creative as he was previously prior to his retirement in July last year. Now, as I mentioned, news of the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund purchasing WWE spread like wildfire only a couple of days ago, though more recent reports have suggested they're, quote, not the favourite people to sign WWE, according to those sources within the company. Following rumours of a Saudi Arabia deal, mood backstage at WWE's NXT taping specifically was reportedly, quote, very depressing. As I mentioned, more names have appeared over the past few days as interested parties in the sale of WWE, with the likes of Disney, Netflix, and ESPN all being suggested. It was also reported that All Elite Wrestling owners Tony and Shahid Khan have an interest in purchasing WWE as part of a merger with AEW. Whether or not that could actually happen, that does seem far-fetched, but there is concrete interest, with notable major outlets such as CNBC reporting that indeed that there was, at the very least, interest or discussions within the Khan family of putting a bid together. We've covered this in depth. Be sure to check it out on the channel. Now, it's been a busy week for Stephanie McMahon as well, because former WWE chairwoman and co-CEO Stephanie McMahon has revealed that she recently had surgery to fix an ankle injury. Stephanie McMahon announced her resignation from WWE on January 10th, shortly after her father Vince McMahon returned to the WWE board of directors. Stephanie has now taken to social media to reveal that she's now recovering from an ankle injury, thanking Andrew Sports Medicine. The former WWE executive tweeted, quote, busy week, thank you Dr. Waldrop, Andrew Sports Medicine, and the Orthopedic Center staff for fixing my ankle. And to Kevin Wilk, Champion Sports M, for already getting me started on rehab. And of course, to my amazing caregiver, Triple H, hashtag road to recovery. Now, as I mentioned, there was this report that Stephanie McMahon and her father had, quote, issues working together. Vince rejoined the board of directors as WWE was reportedly receiving advice about a potential sale. It must be said that Stephanie and Triple H were reportedly opposed to selling World Wrestling Entertainment. There already has been a lawsuit filed against McMahon, Vince McMahon that is, not Stephanie, in the state of Delaware, suggesting wrongdoing when it comes to forcing his way back into the company and holding the company hostage. However, some have disputed the real legalities of even the lawsuit, because it's his company. He's the majority shareholder. He has the majority voting power. He can still, to an extent, do what he wants with his own company. Regarding the sale in WWE, it has had some more new details, some basic backstage reaction to really what's been going on when it comes to lots of different interested parties, reactions, etc. And this comes from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, because this week, of course, has been a wild one, with rumours of WWE selling all over the place. But so far, there's a ton of conjecture and speculation. Of course, Tuesday, there were those vague tweets emerging, speaking of, quote, monster news coming, which was in reference to the rumours of WWE selling to the Saudi Public Investment Fund. However, WWE is still largely in the process of fielding suitors, which is kind of what I said, although we have heard that Vince McMahon had spoken with a Saudi group members during his WWE absence. There was some mainstream coverage that several people with knowledge of the situation clarified for Fightful, which Sean Ross Sapp is reporting, with one piece drawing multiple reactions from the Axios piece, which we spoke about this morning, saying, quote, be smart. Even during his brief exodus from the company he ran for 4 decades, McMahon held all the power as WWE's controlling shareholder. No deal was ever going to happen without his blessing, and his comeback, while tumultuous, has been well received by Wall Street. There is a direct line drawn from Vince McMahon retiring and the stock price, live event attendance, viewership, and talent morale increasing. It was stressed to Fightful after the Axios piece aired that the general consensus is that the, quote, well-received nature from Wall Street was a result of the sale talk, not Vince McMahon returning. Regarding reports that a sale to Saudis was done, several posts indicating have now been deleted, as the outlets that employ those writers had requested that they be taken down, one being DAZN. Over the past week, there have been countless, quote, guy who knows a guy situations who have fed information to both mainstream outlets and wrestling media outlets too, claiming deals with Disney and Saudi Arabia were, quote, as good as done deals, while other very plugged-in influential names in the business expect Comcast to make the purchase overall. Now, obviously, what we're going to see is a lot of this, basically. We're going to see many reports and claims that all of these are, quote, done deals, but as highlighted with the WCW, WWF, Fusion deal with Eric Bischoff back in 2001, we'll know when it's actually a done deal. All of these hearsay, this person said that person, this person said this, Wait until you hear any official confirmation. Now, Fightful are reporting that they reached out to contacts within Disney and Comcast, who spoke on the condition of anonymity about the possibility of a sale. Both companies had employees who had clearly heard of the rumors and said it would be hard to believe that any major company would want to retain Vince McMahon's services in any capacity if they could help it. Another huge rumor that emerged this week from Barron, a sister publication of the Wall Street Journal, said that Tony Khan and his father Shahid Khan are among the name of a pool of potential suitors to purchase World Wrestling Entertainment. One source that has been close with the Khans say they haven't heard this discussed, but noted, quote, "It makes sense from every perspective to at least throw your name out there for the very reasons that article even got published. There are a lot of interesting elements, but I wouldn't think it's going to happen. Then again, it's wrestling, and far wilder things have happened in this industry." The same source said the publicity associated with even having the Khans mentioned in connection to the WWE sale was a positive, though they weren't sure that that was a motivating factor for them. The same person said that if the Khans did buy it, it'd likely be a group led by them. The roster morale and reception to Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan as compared to Vince McMahon has been night and day. Even Triple H's guidance has led to talent and staff telling Fightful that work is more fun for them. Now, whilst Fightful report that they've heard rumours that Vince McMahon has already sent word to some departments to say they're doing things wrong since his return, Stephanie was among the board that unanimously agreed that Vince McMahon's return wasn't in the best interest of the company. Though there have been reports that Stephanie McMahon and husband Triple H opposed the sale, Fightful are also reporting that they were told they were willing to work towards the progression of a sale of the business. Rather, they have also been told by people of influence in the companies of at least two potential suitors that they believe there would be roles in WWE post-sale for Stephanie and Paul Levesque if they wish to continue on in respective roles. Regarding reports from the Wrestling Observer newsletter that we spoke about earlier on that Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon had issues working together as family members, it was noted to Fightful by several sources at WWE headquarters that when Stephanie's team was dismantled, a usually composed Stephanie was disheartened and frustrated about how it happened. That, of course, was during the pandemic, which led to her hiatus prior to Vince McMahon's retirement last year. There were some concerned extras as of late who popped up backstage at WWE shows and saw, quote, Vince's office listed on a directory. Fightful have been told that just hasn't changed since he left and they use the same board. Talent is still very worried about Vince McMahon returning to creative, but as of right now, that isn't necessarily going to happen. But still, anything's possible in pro wrestling and the World Wrestling Federation. Now, speaking of deals, one of the big points of Vince McMahon's return not only was the exploration of strategic alternatives, a sale process of WWE, another thing that Vince McMahon was returning for was to negotiate or take the lead in the negotiations of the next round of media rights deals. Of course, one of the big programs, the biggest program in WWE right now on the biggest deal, is Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. However, it may not have been a profitable deal for Fox as opposed to WWE. WWE's television contracts due to expire at the end of 2024. Negotiations are likely to begin around April of 2023. Both sides, WWE and the broadcaster, will be seeking the best deal for themselves, their advertisers, shareholders, and customers. With Fox being the home of WWE SmackDown since October 2019, a new report has revealed the crazy amount of money that Fox has so far lost on their 5-year deal. These are astronomical numbers that have later been disputed, which is key. However, let's start off with the numbers. Dave Meltzer revealed the details in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, starting off with positives, saying, quote, SmackDown winning Friday for Fox most weeks makes WWE more valuable to other networks. More eyes on Fox for SmackDown is the end of the positives for the company, though, with Meltzer going on to write, quote, but at the same time, even in winning the night, SmackDown still fetches the lowest ad rates for any Friday night primetime network show at $47,000 per minute. Again, to repeat, SmackDown still fetches the lowest ad rates of any Friday night network primetime show at $47,000 per minute. It looks bleaker, however, with Meltzer citing a recent report explaining, quote, Morgan Stanley did an analysis for Fox on SmackDown and felt that they couldn't justify the price tag for the show. In the 2020-21 television season, Fox paid $196.7 million on the show and ended up with $134 million in losses. Yes, those numbers again. They paid close to $200 million for the show and incurred over $130 million in losses. It continues. In 2021 to 2022, Fox paid $208.5 million and ended up with $145 million in losses. As for the predictions for the rest of the contract, it's not any better. If anything, it's probably going to get worse. This is what Meltzer concluded, quote, "The conclusion is that there simply are not enough wrestling fans to justify the kind of money Fox spent on the show, and that the number of viewers is not likely to change over the next 2 years. They estimate that losses will only get worse, with a projection of $155.6 million in losses for the 2022-23 season and $166.9 million for the 2023-2024 season. Fox's deal is $221.1 million for the payment to WWE for SmackDown in 22-23 and $234.3 million for 2023-2024. The report, as stated by Meltzer, would recommend that WWE should take less money for the benefits of broadcast television, among which are the ad revenue from major advertisers, over anything that could be offered from a streaming service or a cable television deal. Suggesting again, stick with broadcast TV, stick with network TV, because that's the best deal you're going to get, but at the same time, take less money. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, a lot of people jumped on that report when it came out today, or when it was cited, certainly by Meltzer. It was actually a report that came out a few weeks ago. But when the report was spoken about and expanded upon by Meltzer, people jumped on it saying, look at this, massive financial failure for Fox, massive financial failure for WWE, even they're the ones getting paid. However, Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics has kind of opened up on this, and he really would be a guy to know. He is an expert on the financial side of pro wrestling. He is a finance expert on pro wrestling. It's in his name, WrestleNomics. Now, Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics has called into doubt the recent coverage of the Morgan Stanley report for Fox in relation to SmackDown. In a tweet in response to the Wrestling Observer newsletter report that Morgan Stanley's analysis couldn't justify the cost of SmackDown to Fox Television, Thurston replied saying, quote, "We talked about this on WrestleNomics Radio more than a month ago when the analysis was published. This is a distortion of what Morgan Stanley wrote. Live sports are a loss leader. So is SmackDown, so is Raw, so is Dynamite." Referring to the WrestleNomics YouTube video in question, Thurston had said the following, quote, "Morgan Stanley, in their report this past week, did some very interesting research along these lines. They're assuming the base case for WWE's TV rights deal in the US is 1.5 times. The current average annual value for Raw and SmackDown combined is $470 million per year. If Morgan Stanley is correct and they get a 1.5 increase, let's say for both deals, they end up at $705 million per year. Morgan Stanley has laid out bear cases. They've also laid out a bull case. The bear case is 1.35 times when they end up with only $635 million a year. A bull case is where they double their TV rights and end up at nearly $1 billion a year just in live US rights, $940 million. So notice their bear care is not an even no raise, not an even 1.0 times case. Their sort of pessimistic case is still a 35% raise. Co-host Jesse Collins stated that, quote, "An epic part of their analysis is the argument that the expected next television contract is already baked into the stock price in their opinion. That the over $80 per share price is because people are expecting somewhere between, let's just say, 1.35 and 2 times the current deal." Thurston would then explain that they write in the report that they see the consensus. In essence, they're saying the consensus of stock analysts believe, I think, at this point, 1.7 times or something like that. So their base case is a little lower than what they view the consensus as. Basically, they're saying that people are looking into this saying, oh, this is, terrible and all this kind of stuff. But the point being is that actually, I think SmackDown is going to get renewed for more money. Raw is going to get renewed for more money. The only thing that could change that, of course, is a sale. It depends if they get sold to Comcast. Comcast don't have to pay any television media rights because they own the company. If it's to Saudi Arabia, if it's something else, those negotiations will continue. It's as simple as that. Even though I said it's as simple as that, it sounded very complicated with all of those figures just said. Now, let's talk about the Pitch Black match this coming month at the Royal Rumble event. What even is it? Well, we don't know. But LA Knight has shared more light on the rules for his Pitch Black match at the upcoming Royal Rumble Premium Live event. At the January 28 event, Knight will clash with Bray Wyatt in a Mountain Dew Pitch Black bout. WWE fans have been left scratching their heads following the match announcement, wondering what the stipulation will entail. On WWE After the Bell, Knight noted that it has been indicated to him that the bout will be a street fight kind of in the dark. Discussing the upcoming match, Knight said, quote, "Pitch black match is something new in the making. There was something to the point of, I don't know what the hell this is, what the hell this is going to be. Every indication I've been given is that this is going to be a kick-ass street fight and kind of be in the dark. I don't know what the lighting is going to be, how it's going to work, what other factors or elements are going to all come into play. All I know is it's going to be a fight at the Royal Rumble." In addition to this match, 2 Royal Rumble matches and a WWE Undisputed Championship match have been confirmed for the show. At the Rumble, of course, Roman Reigns will be defending his gold against Kevin Owens. But as far as the pitch black match, that was kind of my assumption, is that it's going to be again, a street fight or no rules, but in the dark, but not really in the dark, because, like, for instance, when Bray Wyatt comes out, he's in the dark, but you can clearly see him. There's a spotlight, there's the lights of the crowd, there'll be the lights at ringside. So I think that's what they're going to do there. Again, we don't have any confirmation on that, so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how long Bray Wyatt's going to be around WWE for. If Vince McMahon returns, anything's possible, certainly. So there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.